If you are interested in an open-world RPG that lets you go anywhere and do anything you want, Rainbow Dawn is the game for you. You'll be exploring a world that's ended, trying to find anyone that might still be alive. You'll also be helping out the souls of people who have died on Earth, and completing fun, engaging quests. Play Rainbow Dawn today. Just search for Rainbow Dawn on aldorlea.org, that is ALDORLEA.org, or follow Toxic Binary on Twitter to get the link there. That's Toxic Binary.
Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to RPG Maker Cola.
Hey RPG Maker Cola listeners, welcome to RPG Maker Cola Season 2. We are the most expensive brand of soda in the game development world. Yes, it's a world, it's an overworld with like Final Fantasy and all that kind of stuff, and RPG Maker Cola is just one of those like potions that you see in all the different shops and stuff. You can buy it for like 2 gil or something, I don't know, or maybe 20, there's a markup. I need to make my, gil. Yeah, and you can use your, taste buds to taste the goodness of RPG Maker Cola and game development and the fizzy soda-filled source of content for game development opinions that mean very little in the grand scheme of things. It's your favorite RPG Maker podcast, RPG Maker Cola. I'm your host Benny, also known as Cash, also known as the Puzzle Snob, also known as host of a podcast and is very scared, and this is the place for you. It's a chill space where we get together skilled developers from the RPG Maker community to chat cordially and occasionally non-cordially about game development, game design, and probably a whole bunch of unrelated other stuff too. It's casual, it's cool, it's cola. Today I have 4 guests. What? There's a lot of guests, and they're all very talented. They could each have their own podcast where they go on and on about their very informed opinions. But yes, I have put all 4 of them together because I'm unwise and I think this podcast episode might just explode. We're here to grow and learn together, and we're here to grow and learn in community. Our first guest is someone I originally discovered through their hearty epic, A Very Long Rope to the Top of the Sky, an RTP adventure that spanned 50 hours, what? I don't know, it's very long. Rope to the Sky. It was a long game, and it sort of foreshadowed the commitment that was to come in a game development career that skyrocketed from one great project to the other. You have the magnificent God of Crawling Eyes making my skin crawl with pure horror. Born Under the Rain, a team effort with game dev superstars. The Heart Pumps Clay, an unusual beanstalk climbing and yet punishing RPG entry for the IGMC, or the Indie Game Maker Contest for those not in the know. Until finally, Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass, a gargantuan effort, product of years of work, a full-length, full-featured JRPG with an emphasis on long-term stat progression and exploration. It centers around Jimmy, an empathetic boy who gains strength by imagining what it's like to be different monsters he comes across. And the monsters act as different classes. Jimmy can switch between both outside of battle to overcome environmental obstacles, like a Metroidvania of sorts, and inside of battle to change his stats, give him new abilities. This is so fun. Why? You probably have already played it. Play it again. I don't know. I'd just like to welcome the one, the only, Kasey Ozymy.
Hey, thanks for that lengthy introduction. I don't know if I deserve it.
You do. You really do. Thank you for being on the podcast. I'm utterly privileged. Our second guest is known as the Soma Spirits and Brave Hero Yooka-Laylee. This person, a creator of gorgeously constructed retro-styled RPGs, but with, some modern principles undergirding its design. Their Twitter profile says they're proud to be, they don't say it, but I mean, they just say that they're in their 30s. And who has said... And I'm about to be, in a year's time. I'm sorry, this is unprofessional. And they also said, quote, I've never played a video game in my life, and you shouldn't either. So you should take their advice. Their current project is Soma Union. Set 100 years after the true ending of Soma Spirit, Soma Union aims to be a short 3 to 5 hour RPG of some undetermined length that returns to the world of Soma. Or so it would if it had not been destroyed in a great calamity. I don't know if that's spoilers. As you roam through the cosmos to find the missing fragments of your home world, you'll meet a colourful cast of characters and make important decisions that may not be as clear as they seem. The games are just like fully custom visuals, beautiful, funny jokes, the laughs, and I'm so privileged. I'm so happy to have them on board. It's the one, the only, Sgt M.
Thank you very much for the lengthy introduction. It's great to be here, and every bit of that is true. I am in my 30s, and I have never played a video game in my life, and nobody ever should.
Yes. Our third guest is an Australian animator and filmmaker with over 16 years of industry experience in the fields of online marketing, television, short film, music video production, and independent game development on a state, national, and international level. In 2007, he started Visitors from Dreams not only with the intent of creating animated content for advertising and TV, but also as an umbrella to distribute and release original short form and interactive entertainment under. He's created fantastic games like the gorgeous Flatwoods game, moving on to Hazmat, and eventually the quirky and entertaining Shooty and the Catfish, which is such a gorgeous game full of funny jokes yet again. I think all four of our guests are quite funny, and just filled with character and that trademark cartoonish style that just really harkens back to, I don't know when. It's a period of time where it's a very unique kind of flavor. I am out of my element. It's the creator of Shooty and the Catfish, the one and only Visitors from Dreams.
I hope you're ready for an unforgettable luncheon. That was a very, very formal introduction. I don't feel anywhere near that formal. I'm probably the least formal person here. Yeah, hi. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good.
I'm very happy to have you on board.
Yeah, I'm good too. Last time I was here shooting the Catfish wasn't ready for release, and now it's been out for like 6 months. So, how times change.
Yeah, plenty to talk about. We'll get into that later. Our final guest is someone I have admired for a while and then became friends with. They are a self-professed hobbyist game designer, music composer, and pixel artist, and a community living life coach. Many know him as the developer of such classics as Three Ghostly Roses, Mount for Peace, and the original Cope Island. Just some of, just the best games of all time, really. Mount for Peace being a game about genderless bugs. I always like to bring that up. And I think they just have this really unique verve for gameplay design, in particular, I'd say battle design, and bring it right down to the roots of what makes it tick. I've long sort of admired their adroit nature and kind of bring these together. All these elements, disparate elements, and atmosphere. This person is extremely adroit in this area, and their latest game is Cope Island Adrift, where you take a limited amount of randomized weapons and battle your way through a series of trials in order to have a showdown with your demon. Cope Island's full of secrets. It's up to you to stay on track or break your way through the forgotten. Many call him one of the greatest developers of all time. I simply get to call him friend. It's the one, the only, zDS.
Hi, I'm zDS, and finally, after all this time, I might actually become Cashmere Cat's friend.
Yeah. I mean, there's a long line, but it's a process. You have to fill out a form and such. Very happy to have all four of you on board. It's actually overwhelming. Some of the greatest influences on my game development process are here. I'm actually on it. Yeah, now that we're all well acquainted, listener, let's go to the next corner, which happens to be a buzz corner. Welcome to the Buzz Corner, where we talk about what RPG Maker games, or games in other engines, are gaining buzz at the moment, or, have left a good imprint on us. If I've told our guests if they can think of a game, they can bring one game to talk about that they're pretty interested in. They don't have to have played it, it just has to look interesting to them. I am bringing a game called Blood and Grime by Momeka in a custom engine. Now, this game is released, well, no, it's not released yet as the recording of this podcast, but it's like a dungeon crawling style, like very colorful game, great graphics, and it's from a developer I greatly respect because their previous sort of games have been like really colorful and funny, but overall just exhibit like a massive amount of polish. Apparently in this game, it's a first-person dungeon crawl game where you create a party of 3 scavengers set out to explore the planet of Grime 9, scavenge ancient ruins, visit friendly settlements, do quests, and talk to a surgeon who might replace your arms with tentacles. You fight monsters and men with ill intents in a turn-based menu combat system. I think this might be the biggest game that Momeka has set out to achieve. It looks like it. It looks like the scope is very big. And I'm very happy about that because I think they've created small, cute games like that are very high quality. But this is it seems to be their first released like massive game, and I don't know how long it's going to be. Hopefully it's a bit sizable, but it looks like it might be. And I'm really looking forward to Blood and Grime.
Momeka is fucking really good. Art is so clean and stylized. So yeah, I totally agree. I hope that they make something that's actually got a lot of meat on the bone.
Yeah, they've been sharing the engine development for this for quite a while, just like tech demos, and every time they release one of those little tech demo videos, they're always really impressive.
Yeah.
But it's the color palette that really sells this stuff, though. It uses it across everything. But it never looks the same, which is... I don't know how he does that.
Yeah.
Gets a lot of mileage out of those few colors, too.
It's insane. It's just the way he uses them and the different ways he shades things makes a massive difference.
Totally brilliant.
It's one of the biggest triple threats I've seen when it comes to art style with the developer, gameplay, and technical ability. Like, all three are, like, scarily on point, and it's almost like... It's almost one of those developers you don't want to watch because it makes you not want to make games because they're already making better games than you. No, I'm just kidding. But
they are too good.
They're very good. They seem to get bored very quickly too. Like they haven't really repeated themselves. It's always all right. I've done this. I set out to do it. I did it. Time to try something new. That's awesome. I love that.
It's all commercial quality too. And all but 3
definitely deserves more attention than it's getting, I think.
Yeah, I don't know why his work hasn't been picked up more.
I think it doesn't seem to be like super like self-promoting and sort of like
that's
grandiose.
Probably what it is. Yeah, it's kind of Twitter or bust now. It's just if not constantly sharing GIFs and stuff on Twitter, then it's hard.
Oh, they have 1,000 followers on Twitter, so they're getting a decent amount, but
not bad.
Yeah. But they don't have any, like, I was going to say they don't have any way to donate, but you can do that on itch now, which is actually really cool. Oh, they don't have their account attached to it, though. Yeah, Kasey, what game are you bringing to the Buzz Corner?
Oh, yeah, well, I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about weird and unfortunate things that are happening, because I'll take every opportunity to talk about it. So this is a game by Unity that... she kind of started pretty soon after I announced Jimmy, so probably like a year. I think probably like within a year of me announcing Jimmy. So I think she's been working on it, and someone can correct me on this, for like 5 or 6 years, right?
I think about 5.
Yeah, and it's just it's going to get the Earthbound comparison because it's set in modern times, but it's its own thing. I'd say that the most impressive thing for me when I was playing it is the exploration. The exploration was really killer. There are these little things. I'll say generally the game involves eldritch horrors and going into a city to save your niece, and the city has been sort of like pulled into this eldritch dimension, or is being pulled into it. So there's all these weird and unfortunate things that are happening inside that place. But it's like one of the things I really appreciated are there are these little hermit crab looking dudes called fools. Whenever you talk with them, they transport you to a pocket dimension. So this is like a recurring thing that happens, and there's really no like rule as to what the pocket dimension is. Something I've been just like like as a designer that I've been like really trying to be more cognizant of is just sort of making like special moments for the player, like in RPGs. Like I feel like that's what really, one of the things I really love about them is, you know, when you're exploring and you just like come across something and it's unique and interesting and sort of like sets up a structure for that, the whole full dimension thing. Like it just sets up a structure where Unity could just like constantly bring novel experiences to the player, and it was just really interesting and fun. And I could go on and on about it. There's like a really good progression system that's linked to exploration. Like you get this basically skill points to fund your, or you know, to go on anyone's skill tree is like a collective currency, and you'll just find them on the ground. So exploration is like reinforcing, or the stat progression is reinforcing exploration and vice versa. So it was just like really enjoyable and like engaging. And then I will say too, like most of the game takes place in the city of Daybreak, and that's cool. But the most interesting exploration happens towards the end of the game when you kind of start stepping more into these eldritch dimensions. So I don't want to go into like too far into it to like you know, step into spoiler territories, but it was just like, it was a good, like, I think instead of Earthbound, it's like, I would say it's taking the idea of like a Yume Nikki style exploration and like pushing that into an RPG format, which is kind of what I did with Jimmy too, but it did it in a different direction that is really was really just fun.
Yeah, Unity's got a very distinct sort of style that's quite quite unique, and you always know that there's something lurking underneath, not like a spiritual entity or anything, but like true gameplay beneath. There's story and characters and motivations, and you know you're in good hands, I suppose. That's what I'd say with a Unity game. It's not like flashy with no sake at all. So.
Right. Unity and I kind of like also just sort of popped on into the RPG Maker scene at the same time, so I feel like we both have this thing, you know, where we just like, I feel like we've been growing, you know, like separately, but like, you know, at this, you know, and we've been watching each other's growth, and it's been really, and maybe that's just something that's just awesome about the RPG Maker community. But I feel like with Unity, she was like one of the first people that played A Very Long Rope, and we just had we've had a rapport back and forth since then. It's been really cool to like see each other grow, you know.
Another good thing about Unity is she always plays games as well.
Like, yeah.
Which is great. Plays games, gives feedback. She played one of my games as well, and it's so rare that you get someone who's so prolific with games, but also plays other games at the same time.
Yeah, she's kind of like, it's weird because like I feel like I said, we came in around the same time, and I feel like I've kind of orbited around the RPG Maker community, and I've like, you know, I've participated in some events, and I've like, you know, I'll talk with people and stuff, but I've never felt like a really integral part. But she has totally just like made herself like the center of RPG.net, I feel.
Yeah, totally, yeah. This game is good. I've only played through part of the demo. I need to go get the completed game. I think I'm going to stream it, but yeah, from what I've played, it's just like solid game. It's great, and it gets like, if you play just like, I don't really know where the demo ends, but like the later you get in the game, I feel the stronger it gets too. So all right, yeah, Sergeant, what are you bringing to the Buzz Corner today?
Okay, so today I'm going to talk a little bit about Prayer of the Faithless, a game that has been in development for a little while. By Red Nova / Nova / Vermilion Nova, some sort of Nova. It is a game that he is developing in RPG Maker VX Ace, and he's been working on it for a little while. And it's come a very, very long way since he started developing it several years ago. It's a game that kind of goes in sort of like the classic RPG Maker style of, you know, a high fantasy world that deals with the incoming end of the world. A lot of the game that I have played, he just put out a demo, and it deals a lot with a really good like world building. I find that the game has a lot of really strong sense of building this bleak sort of, you know, sort of like this death, decay, dying sort of theme. And the characters are always, you know, trying to find the best way forward through that. And to really build that, he has built a very, very strong battle system around that, I find.
Yeah.
It's a turn-based RPG where you have usually a party of 3 characters. And every action that you take in the game uses up a turn, I guess sort of like a turn point. I don't think he really refers to it as anything, but you can take 3 actions among your party in battle per turn. So you could rely on one character, or you could rely on all 3 characters on a given turn, which I find has a lot more strategy than I thought it was going to have. So you kind of have to, look at enemies that are before you and sort of, decide whose abilities are going to work the best on, sort of a given skill set.
Yeah. I mean, Prayer of the Faithless is, like, it seems, it's one of those things where someone was making an apocalypse game about the end of the world and hopelessness, and then, the things happened. So it's like, it seems to be it's not meant to be, like, well-timed, but it's like, the themes are going to be way more potent now, I suppose, with regard to what's happening. But I've always thought, like, Red Nova, I've played through the whole of Soul Sunder and played the demo for Prayer. Yeah, same thing, like, emphasis on battles. I see that also in zDS's works, is that just great emphasis on, like, the depth of battles. I see him, like, doing lots of blogs like, I'm fine-tuning this bit, this sort of part of the battle doesn't work for the whole game, so I'm rejigging this part of the battle for the entire game. And it's sort of like they go deep into the sort of stats. Like, I mean, if you look at the battle menu, it says attack, drive, trance, miasma charge, draw weapon, focus, and items. Like, that's, like, it's not your usual attack, magic, items, run kind of battle system. It's got a bit more to it, so, yeah.
Well, yeah, I think the amazing thing about that, though, is that even though it looks like it's a lot, he manages to make every single one of those impactful and make them work. Like, you have to utilize every single one of those.
Yeah, it's very, it's only including what's necessary, I think. And that's what I find about, like, Red Nova, is that he will always keep in mind, like, game design, and if something's not needed, he'll scrap it, and he'll retool it, and he'll obsess over it, for lack of a better word, to make sure that everything is functioning as desired. And if it doesn't, he throws it out, retools it, reshapes it. Whereas a lot of people might see an okay enough battle system and go, yeah, that's good enough, sort of thing. But he's not okay with anything that's less than excellent, and that shows in his work.
Right. Less than excellent and less than necessary. And the impressive thing to me is that he could include so much and make every single one of those mechanics necessary. And that's what I really love about it.
Superhuman. That it's all on one person. Shouldn't be that way. Wow, Prayer of the Faithless. Go check that out. Download the demo for that. I think, it's new demos come out, or is coming. I think it's been released recently.
New demo just came out, like, about a week or 2 ago.
Okay. That's
right before the new year.
As of the recording. Yeah, cool. Wow. Go download that. As for visitors, what are you bringing to the BuzzCon today?
An interesting story behind how I found this one. I did actually find it through rpgmaker.net. I'm bringing Labyrinth, Derelict, Abyss, and I only just found this because I follow Catamites on itch.io. I've been a big fan of the Catamites' work for a long time, and his influences are all through my stuff. But he recommended it on itch, and I was like, oh shit, okay, I should check out what this is. And so it's made in RPG Maker 2K3, which I think we can all agree is the best RPG Maker. And it's just kind of like an exploration game. Like, my personal favorite genre of RPG Maker games are just ones where I just walk around, I look at stuff, and shit's weird. The art's really interesting. It's very lo-fi, very basic, but it's really striking. It's got a really, really clear color palette. A lot of thought. The developers are Juno Flower. This is their first game, at least on rpgmaker.net. Original soundtrack, but yeah, I love anything where it's just like, here's a weird place, explore it, find stuff, and that's it. Although, ironically, I haven't been able to get into Yuminiki and stuff because it's like too open and I get lost and frustrated. But I do like that genre of just, I'm looking forward to Hap Up for the same reason. I just like looking around and talking to people and stuff. So yeah, it just looks really different.
What I will say about this, as compared to Yuminiki, it seems that the structures in this are more based in reality, I suppose. You're like drawing different environments, and they're clearly like, it seems as if they could exist in reality, whereas Yooka-Laylee has a lot of shapes that are floating around that are impossible.
From what I've seen, at least, it seems to have actual level design. Yooka-Laylee is kind of like a nightmare clusterfuck on purpose, whereas this is obviously very structured in a very deliberate way, and it's supposed to feel like a space as opposed to a dream. Although they've used the word ethereal to describe it, so I guess you can still do that with a structured environment through art direction. Yeah, no, it looks really interesting. I only reason I haven't played it yet is because I'm currently tied to my Mac while I rearrange my home. And of course, most RPG Maker games I can't run on my Mac, at least not conveniently. So once my PC's back up and running, then I'll be hopping on and checking this one out.
Ah, excellent. Hope that gets done soon. zDS, what do you bring to the Buzz Corner today?
Well, I wanted to skip this, but Cashmere Cat bullied me into having a game in this section. So I chose a game I played in 2017 called Dog Adventure. Prepare yourself for total meltdog is the tagline. I played the game for one of those RPGmaker.net's like events to review games, and it kind of stuck out as a shitpost game, and that's exactly what it is. But it surprised me because it was actually a real game. Like, it made you laugh, and it was obviously a shitpost, but it kept like going and having clever puzzles, just overall structure to it. It's weird game.
Semi-shitpost.
It might be my best review I ever wrote for that site, honestly, because I just had a lot to say about it. Not really much people played it. I mean, it has some downloads, but I didn't really see much buzz about it, which is kind of a shame because I know there's what's the word? I think this guy was actually talented and got sick of making good stuff. And this was how he vented his frustration from work. He just came home and made a bad game on purpose, but wanted to include good stuff in it.
Well, he couldn't even succeed at doing that. Made a good game instead.
Yep, it's just, you tried to make a bad game, you failed. Yeah. So, if you ever are bored and want a bad game to play, that's good. Dog Adventure.
I love this screenshot where it's like the dog saying, "Forgive my Philistine friend. He suffers from being an idiot." Yeah, it's good lines, good humor. I think, this looks enjoyable.
How do you spell dog backwards? That is a common joke in the game, and I never forgot it.
Oh, I remember this. I'm looking at it now. I remember this game.
Oh, I like this last line as well. There's also one-liners that seem funny. The dog saying, "And if there's one thing I like doing, it's advancing the plot. I'm sure he can help with that." And then there's different characters like Hank Scorpion and Combat Chicken and Rat Bastard.
There's also a lot of making fun of the RPG Maker games of the past, where a lot of games I played, you talk to a character, but the face does not match the sprite at all. And then you fight it, and it's a completely different sprite from that even. Yeah. There's a lot of making fun of that.
Yeah, I see the screenshot where it says the monster's called "Hey, that's not what he looked like" emerged. So yeah.
Yes.
Hank command called a huge dogger.
Yeah.
Hank Scorpion sounds like a Simpsons reference. Are there a bunch of just references in that game, or is
it's a complete shitpost?
It seems like it succeeds at what it wants to do, which is to be a joke game, but be good at the same time. I don't think there's no reason why it should be, considered any less than any other game, as long as you're achieving what you set out to be. Thanks for bringing those games to the Buzz Corner. I'm going to transition to our next section, which is about games. Other types of games, though. AAA, B grade. Or maybe we shouldn't put them into grades, because that's classist. Here's our next section. We've been playing games. Maybe? Hey, have you been playing games? Or have you been too busy making them instead? Bad. If not, that's all cool. Actually, I just contradicted myself there. It's okay if you haven't been playing games. Just take it easy. You're okay. If so, you can listen here as each of one of us talk about a game we've been currently playing or have played in the past and explain what we liked and disliked about it. I'm going to bring a game called, Celeste. Yeah, that's that game made from the creators of Towerfall, where you help Madeline survive her inner demons on her journey to the top of Celeste Mountain in this super tight platform from the creators of Towerfall. I already said that. Brave hundreds of handcrafted challenges, uncover devious secrets, and piece together the mystery of the mountain. So now that I've finished reading the description, I really liked this game because it's just super well polished, and it does everything right in the platformer book. Everything. No need to make platformers again. It's just amazing. But actually, in a sense, it sort of borrows from the legends of, say, Super Meat Boy and games where it's like kind of very difficult and you're on a single map, and if you fall into the spikes, you know why you died, and there's reason, and you don't have to be like, the controller screwed up, because you know it's you and you screwed up. So there's always a reason why you died, and it feels like it's such a super tight control system that they've really honed it down to its bare elements, and you can just keep trying and trying again and failing until you succeed, and the more failures, the sweeter the success will be. I learned that from Bennett Foddy. So yeah, and it's also got a very very insightful story to it about mental health, and I won't spoil too much about it, but it actually hit quite hard because it was very touching, and I think this game is excellent. You probably already heard about it, but I wanted to gush about it even more because I think you can't talk enough about it. It's a fantastic game, Celeste, in my opinion. Yeah, that's the game I brought. I would like to refer to Kasey. What game have you played once in the past, maybe?
I played it multiple times in the past. It's really not... Well, I'll talk about a specific game, but I've been playing Tabletop Simulator, which is just a way to play board games online with people. And I'm going to heavily recommend this because we're in the middle of a global pandemic. I don't know if you guys knew that.
What?
But
what?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
So it's
what?
hard.
Sorry. Say hamdenic.
Pancake.
It's very hard to connect with friends, and this is a really good way to do it. And it's been kind of a lifesaver. So, but anyway, the specific game I've been playing on it is Gloomhaven.
Oh.
Is number one top ranked board game on Board Game Geek or Tabletop Geek. So Gloomhaven is essentially an RPG. It's a dungeon crawler, except in a board game form. And I think that it's really super worth playing. You have to have at least two people. So I know most of the RPG Maker community is angry loners. So that's going to be tough to find second, third, maybe even fourth person. But if you do, it's very rewarding. It has a really cool idea for a progression system in which you aren't playing a character, you're playing as a guild, a mercenary guild. So you basically will get retirement goals, and then they'll just be little gameplay goals. And then once you meet those, then you retire that character. And then you get to start a new character. So you're constantly playing new characters. So it stays really fresh. And as you retire characters, you build up the prosperity of the town of Gloomhaven, and then that allows you to buy new equipment, and you unlock new classes. Yeah, there's various ways to sort of keep progression through as you play. Even though you're retiring, there's still an overarching progression that's really fun.
Yeah.
But I'll say the coolest thing about Gloomhaven to me is the skill system, because it uses cards. So you get a hand of cards, and each character has a different size hand. So just for example, you may have 10 cards starting, and then as you play them, you discard them. And after you run out of cards, you lose one card. So it goes into a separate pile that you can't access anymore, and then you get your cards back. And so basically, skills are a resource pool, which is something that has probably been done before, but I haven't seen it. And so it makes for really interesting gameplay, because then you're choosing which card you want to lose, or there's two ways to lose cards. You could either do a short rest or a long rest. So if you do a long rest, you have to take a full turn, and then you actually get to choose the card that you lose. But if you're doing a short rest, you can continue playing, but you have to randomly lose a card. So so most of the time, you're not going to be able to do long rests. So since you're doing short rests, you're losing cards at random, and it really makes for interesting gameplay because you don't really know what skills you're going to have at your disposal at any given time. And it's really complex and interesting. There is a version of it called Jaws of the Lion that came out fairly recently, and that is a more streamlined thing. So it's not as like Gloomhaven has something like 110 scenarios, whereas Jaws of the Lion is like a streamlined 25. So if you're trying to get people into it that aren't like super into RPGs, you could do that.
Right.
And then I believe a sequel called Frosthaven is coming out, I think, in March.
Ooh,
so
nice.
it's very fucking cool, and I highly recommend it. It's kept me very sane in the past year.
Damn. Yeah, like I've been like getting more into board games this year. Like I bought like Spirit Island, Terraforming Mars, Azul, and stuff like that. And like, but Gloomhaven has always been this like number one like kind of board game at the top of the ranks. That is like, but it's $250 though. Like it's like massive.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. And this is like maybe not the most legal thing, but Tabletop Simulator. I've been playing it for free on Tabletop Sim. So.
Oh.
That's the thing that like basically tabletop. This is what makes Tabletop Sim really amazing, and I should have stressed this is on the Steam Workshop for Tabletop Sim basically has full games on there, full board games, so all the assets for them, so that are free. So yeah, it's super worth checking out. It's I've like I said, it's really fucking kept me sane this past year. Like I've been able to actually connect with people and connect with friends that I haven't even talked to in like a decade. It's been super awesome.
Because it's a Gloomhaven video game conversion of the board game, and but you don't have to do that. You can just buy a Tabletop Simulator and do it yourself. And
well, I would say it's like what you really should do is use Tabletop Sim to find board games that you like and then buy them.
Right.
Like, because I've done that too. Like I got really into Root. I don't know if anyone's played that, but I bought Root and the expansion and one of the expansions because of a Tabletop Sim. And honestly, I will probably buy Gloomhaven at some point in the future. Like it would be. I'm just thinking it would be really cool, like, to play with your family or something. So, if I had kids or something, I would totally, buy it at that point.
Like we can learn a lot about gameplay through like these Euro-inspired like tactical combat games and stuff like this. Yeah, it's like all that stuff about action economy and like because they can really bring it down to the non-randomized, less randomized sort of simple mechanics that have to operate on an interesting level. So you have to have the combination of not too much math, but also it works gameplay wise. So you need to they need to really balance it in that kind of way, and that can be quite helpful when trying to figure out how to design your game like we said earlier with the least amount of so you don't go the lazy route. You have to
right,
sort of, think about it.
Yeah, no, it's totally like I think it's totally worthwhile for like RPG devs to like look at this game because like not only is it, I mean, it's like really fucking fun, but it's also, I think Frosthaven had like one of the highest grossing Kickstarters for a board game. Like it's popular for like a reason, and it's absolutely worth checking out if only to learn about its mechanics, and how to potentially apply it to your own.
Yeah, Sergeant, what games have you been playing lately, maybe, or a while ago? Who knows?
Well, I've been playing something pretty recently, but it's not a new game or even a relatively new game. It's a collection of older games that I am discovering for the first time. And that would be collection of SaGa, also known as Final Fantasy Legend 1 through 3. I know, Kasey, you're a big fan of these games, correct?
Yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of the SaGa franchise. I liked the Game Boy ones. Those were... those pale in comparison, I feel, to the later ones.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. Like, I appreciate it from like the humble beginnings that would later become like the glory of the SaGa series.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But playing them has given me a lot of, insight on games that did unconventional things in JRPGs like way, way long ago.
Yeah.
There's different leveling systems depending on what races of characters you pick. Some characters will level up, traditionally after battles, and others will level up through items. And some will level up depending on what kinds of equipment you give them. So it was really interesting to see, like, wow, this was 1989, 1990, and they're doing all these cool things that I haven't seen too much of in recent years. So I just finished the first one, Final Fantasy Legend 1, and I had a fun time with that because it was kind of a holy mess in a lot of ways. Like, it just makes no sense whatsoever.
The last boss. What did you think of the last boss?
Oh my goodness. So I won't spoil it for anyone who has not played these 30-something-year-old games, but it does get pretty off the rails towards the end.
Can't imagine JRPG going off the rails.
Before that, you kind of just end up places, kind of like a surreal RPG Maker game, and there's no real rhyme or reason as to why. So, I feel like the development time. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, there was one particular of the like worlds you go to that I remember where there is some kind of, like, it's been a while, but I believe there's like some kind of monster that's on the loose, and you have to run from it. Am I correct?
Oh my god. Yeah, that was the first one. You have to keep running away from this battle over and over and over and over again.
I love, like, it was like, it's definitely like too much, but that idea I fucking love, and I'm like, I've stolen it for part of the game I'm working on now. Like, I love that idea.
It sounds like something Yoko Taro would have done, but like way before Yoko Taro was doing things.
Yeah, it definitely feels like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny, like the developer Joseph Seraph is like a massive fan of these early Final Fantasy Legend games and SaGa games. Big influence for them. But I've heard just generally it's just eccentric game. Like, it's like very it goes hard out on certain things, and it's a little bit like might be a weird way of saying it, but it's like obnoxious in the way that it kind of treats game design. It's like some things are very obtuse in certain ways. Would that be correct?
Yeah, I would say so. Like, it doesn't explain itself very well, and you kind of have to do a sort of trial and error sort of thing for things like, for example, monster classes can change forms after battle by eating an item that the monster leaves behind. But what it transforms into isn't really explained in any way, so you kind of just have to either guess or hope that you get a better monster than you had before. So, kind of doing that coin flip and hoping one of your party members just doesn't end up being useless for the next half hour.
Yeah, and I think it's that sort of mystery, I think, that Joseph Seraph was quite enamored with, was the idea that these games, they had the tower, you had the whatever, so it was like obtuse but also very mysterious in a certain kind of way. And I think some games would do to, I don't know, it might be a bit of a bad advice, but to be a little bit difficult for the sake of retaining mystery and wonder. I think there's a sense of that where it's like you can be a little bit obtuse just to sort of create that sense of mystery. I don't know.
Well, I feel like at the time too, a lot of developers, because the development costs were a lot lower, they took a lot of risks. Like, it was a period where they were still feeling things out, and they could do something like that without it being a massive financial hit if it flopped.
Yeah.
Which, that period in the AAA space, at least, is behind us, sadly.
I definitely get the feeling the first game was a very, very short development cycle.
Yeah. I think the SaGa games in general, to me, always felt like it was Square's just sort of like idea garbage can or something, right? Like they just have like they just have all these like game mechanics, and they're like, this is cool, and then they're like, but we have no place for it, and they just throw it in the garbage can, and then like every once in a while they empty it out, and they're like, hey, we'll turn it into a SaGa game. Like that always kind of felt like it was just a bunch of like there's just so many awesome ideas in them, but it's like, yeah, they're never explained well until maybe the PlayStation era. Like it took so long for them to kind of like, and then like the stories are always like fucking weird and just like disjointed, and it just took so long. It took so long for them to get like a level of polish, and even the PlayStation ones are weird. Even Unlimited SaGa is like oddly, just like not well explained. It's just like weird, I think Scarlet Grace was the first one where everything felt explained.
Yeah. Visitors, what do you bring today to the Games Corner? That's not what it's called, but we'll be
to the Game Corner.
Game Corner. What have you been playing?
I recently finished Rage 2, and I have a lot to say about it, but I'm not going to say anything about it. And I also last night finished Toby and the Secret Mine, which was like a cinematic action platformer. And I got some things to say about that, but I'm not going to, because I'm playing Yooka-Laylee at the moment. That's my thing that I started. I'm very timely.
Uh-oh.
I know, right? Well, I know the Impossible Lair is supposed to be really, really good. I love Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, and some people say that Impossible Lair might even be better than that. But I felt like in order to really appreciate it, I'd have to go back and play the original. And it's interesting. It's been an interesting... I was a young teenager during the N64 era. I love Banjo-Kazooie, and I don't much care for Banjo-Tooie. Yooka-Laylee is Banjo-Tooie 2. It's got the same problem that I have with Banjo-Tooie, which is just the levels are just way too big.
Right.
Stupidly big. But this is something I've worked out, because I've been trying to work out why I haven't been able to get into new 3D platformers, and I think as graphics have improved and geometry has improved, because it really stood out to me playing Yooka-Laylee yesterday, was there's like all these rocks and stuff around the side that you can like jump on, and it's kind of playing the older 3D ones, because the geometry was so limited because of the graphical limitations. Everything was either a wall or a platform or a ramp, and that was it. You had literally three different kinds of things you could walk on or whatever, interact with. And now, as graphics gotten more detailed, like I spent a lot of time in Yooka-Laylee just wondering, like, is that something I can jump on? Is that something I'm supposed to jump on? And it's not so much an issue with like the new Crash and stuff and that, because they're kind of, well, I mean, like the remakes, they kept the level layouts, so they're much the same, and the new Crash is still mostly like a straight line, so they don't have to deal with it. But as soon as you go into 3D, and like the Mario games tend to get away with it because they have very clear ramps, and if something's a wall that you're not supposed to jump up, it'll just be stupid steep, and you won't think it's something that you can climb up when you can't.
And they're more abstracted, the Super Mario, like...
Yeah, and things are a little bit more abstract.
Realistic sort of, gameplay-based.
I haven't played Odyssey. The last one I played was Galaxy and Galaxy 2. But yeah, they didn't seem to really suffer with that problem as much. Everything was really specifically designed visually, so you knew immediately, I can jump on that, or no, I can't. And even games like A Hat in Time, I've played a bit, and it feels great, but even that has what I would consider to be busy level design.
Yeah. And
I'm not into that. I think that's what the 3D platform renaissance, that's what's not doing it for me. And with Yooka-Laylee, that's the main thing. That, and I don't know, some of the quest designs, for physics based. Get that physics shit out of these games, please. I don't care how good your physics engine is. It has no place in platformers. Everything needs to be fixed and have the set number of frames for an animation. That's how it's got to be. But I'm not that far into it, and it's I feel like it's going to be one of those games that I'll learn from, and I won't necessarily hate, but I won't necessarily love either. Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Yeah,
honestly.
But it has got me excited to play Impossible Lair more now, because like I can see the potential there. And Grant Cocope's music in this one's not doing much for me, but in the kart levels, I know that's David Wise's stuff, and I know he did the whole soundtrack for Impossible Lair. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
Actually, it was a bunch of random people who did the second one.
Oh, was it? I thought it was mostly David Wise.
David Wise kind of like led it as like the...
I trust his judgment, because he's like the melody king.
It sounds like him though, the whole game.
Yeah, so I'm down for that.
Yeah, Yuga 1 is kind of like Banjo-Tooie, but not as good. The
Yeah,
music
it's like Banjo-Tooie is
wasn't like
already a
Kazooie.
huge- yeah, because I love Kazooie. The levels are tiny, and they're very dense, and that's how I like my 3D platformers. I don't want to have to move a lot from place to place. I just want like a set number of small things,
Definitely.
close together, and to work them out. And I hate this. Everything needs to be big thing, and it's not the only game that suffers with it. Every fucking AAA game, everything has to be huge.
Yeah.
and it just feels like modern game design seeped into it in ugly ways that is unfortunate. But
We need to make
well.
we need to make an
I think
we need to make an
Yooka.
open world game in a box. Something like that. I don't know.
Mm.
Call it a tiny box.
Well, I think Yooka kind of suffered because it had the concept of you add to the level.
yeah,
But that really makes it kind of empty.
yeah,
feeling.
like that first level of the first half is like a really good size. I'm like, this is good. This is a good size, and then it expanded, and I'm like, it takes minutes to walk from one side to the other, and
I'd rather have 8 levels that are small than 4
that
levels
are
that are
huge.
big.
Yeah, that's it. But I'll push through it. It's very rare that I don't finish a game. Rare.
It's still fun.
Yeah, it's fun enough, and the actual controls of the characters are spot on, which is good. That's really what it comes down to. Like a platformer can still be enjoyable if the movement itself is fun, and it does have that down, which is something. But yeah,
Awesome.
educational experience.
I think as a throwback, it works well for what it's set out to be.
Yeah, that was the other thing, because the 64 filter, I wish you could disable the CRT overlay on that. That is a pet peeve. I really like the low poly models they used, but the CRT filter kind of makes it hard to look at. It gave me like eye strain, so I had to stop using it. I wish there was an option to turn the little CRT filter off the 64 mode, because you can't fake the look of an old TV.
Well, you might need to just change your monitor from a CRT monitor to something more modern.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. What can you do? Yeah. Thanks for bringing that, Yooka-Laylee. zDS, you're probably going to bring some like really obscure game that nobody's ever heard about, right? Like some kind of indie game.
Yeah, it's this really obscure game called Hades. I've seen a bunch of people talk about it for a while now, and I really didn't see the appeal at first.
Well, people didn't crunch
But
on
when
it, so it can't be any good.
Yeah, you're right. But anyway, so I finally was like, you know what? People have been praising it a lot. I'm going to sit down and play it. Try it out. And the first, 30 seconds you play it, it just plays amazingly. Instantly. Like, none of the videos really showed me how good this game actually plays.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's been a complete joy since I started it. I managed to beat not spoiling, the last boss for the first time a few days ago, after much struggle. I'm a big fan of Binding of Isaac, and that game actually inspired me to make Cope Island. So this game felt like, to me, the first time I felt that same feeling of like, wow, this is really good, and I will actually try to beat it on a road game, I mean. And it's just very gameplay based and like really solid, fluid action, but it's like in this weird 2D layout, and it just like every run feels like it's good, as opposed to if you play Binding of Isaac, and a lot of runs you start just feel like trash and you have to restart it. So and with Hades, almost every run you can make work, and it's up to you to make it work.
It looks like it feels good as well.
It feels really good to play, and every bit of dialogue is very charming, which you don't expect for a rogue game to have good dialogue, but it does. The main character makes snarky comments to every single boss. The bosses make comments back to him, and every time I play a run, it's different dialogue. And every time I die, the characters in the hub make fun of you for dying.
It's great.
Or just over a comment on something. And it's one of those rogue games where even if you die halfway through, you still get experience and you can level up in your hub. So it makes permanent, power-ups and stuff like that. So it never feels like I wasted time. It's definitely worth the hype so far.
From the creators of Bastion, Transistor, and Pyre, so you know you're in good hands, because Bastion was like one of those first indie games where it came along with like Binding of Isaac and like Super Meat Boy and some of Raid. And
I think Raid was the same time.
As some of the early indie games to just really make indie games a thing. But I guess Hades is like sort of like a B game now, not really like full indie game, because it's like big studio. They've got bigger and bigger. They've kind of honed their craft to the point where Hades is now like super popular, and I'm very happy for that. It seems like a great success story for the studio.
Has anyone been watching NoClip's documentary on its development?
Is it?
They kind of, No Clip. They did it. They've done a series of documentaries. They've actually, from the start of its development, every couple of months they release a new video showing it step by step. So they did the early access release and then all the updates and that sort of stuff. It's been really interesting to. You can see how the studio works, like internally. It's I highly recommend it.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Check out
cool.
No Clip's Supergiant series. That's awesome.
It'll be funny, like, if they did that series and the game turned out bad.
I did one for Fallout 76 too.
What was that?
They did Fallout 76.
Bad games are important too.
Yeah. I mean, ZDS is right. The game process behind games that aren't, so favorably received is probably as important as following someone who does it well.
Oh, look, I hope someone makes a Duke Nukem Forever movie one day about the development of that game. I think that'd be amazing.
That would be brilliant.
Well, I actually did start Bastion for the first time a few days ago, and I've been loving it. It's like one of those games. It's this game team. I'm like, where has this been my whole life?
Yeah, it's very, very solid. Very solid. So, those are the games we've been playing lately, and now we're going to transition to the question box. Welcome to the question box, the segment where RPG Maker community users such as yourself, or maybe not, you may have wandered in from another community. You're welcome, there's no gate. They ask questions related to game development and design and other stuff that we probably don't know the answers to, but we'll try our best. There's a certain user, thatbennyguy from Twitter, who asks, for all of you, how did you discover RPG Maker and game development? What's your story?
So, I guess like everyone else, I kind of started off, as, a player of games. I played a few RPG Maker games back in the 2000s. Nothing that was like super notable. And I don't remember the names of any of them, unfortunately, but they were just, little side projects that people were doing that you could download. And I played a few of those. I didn't play them super, super extensively, and the ones that I did play were pretty short. And I didn't end up discovering RPG Maker as a developer until much, much later than that. I wasn't, around for the golden age, as some would say, the Don Miguel era, 2000, 2003. I actually started with VX Ace as my first RPG Maker. I kind of just stumbled across it randomly one day. I think it had just come out in the US around late 2012. It just got released, and I think they were doing like a 10% off sale or something. So I thought, hey, you know what, maybe I'll try the trial version of this and, mess around with it, see if I can make anything. And it did take me very long to really get addicted to it. I found that all my spare time was going towards RPG Maker. I was also working a lot less back then, so I had a lot of time to devote to making silly little games. And I started making games kind of on my own, not really in the community of any sort. But I told my friend, who I will not name the real name of, but he goes by Deck Killer. I'm sure some of you remember Deck Killer from RPGmaker.net.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I went to college with him, and he told me about RPGmaker.net, and he was like, hey, you should sign up for this site. So I signed up for RPGmaker.net, uploaded my first game, which was absolutely terrible, and if it had gotten a review, it probably would have gotten 1 star, as one of the commenters put it. So I kind of went back to the drawing board and said, you know what, I'm not going to let this be the end. 1 bad comment, I can shrug this off, try again. I don't even think it's on the site anymore, but it was an old RTP game. I think it was called Blight Runners, something along those lines.
It's a good name.
And the whole idea of it was it was sort of like Prayer of the Faithless, as I was mentioning earlier, where there's this blight overtaking the world, and you're one of the few people that can travel into the blight, battle monsters, and the execution of it was not very good. It was kind of just my first RPG Maker game. It's going to be 30 hours. It's going to have classic combat, which I use as an excuse to say that I'm not going to do anything interesting. So I did that, and then I made a few other small games, a couple with RTP, a couple with edits, And then my first real game happened in, well, I don't want to say real game, but like my first serious game happened in 2015, and that was Brave Hero Yusha, which got released 5 years ago this year. And that was kind of the game that kind of, you know, got me into this as more than just like a screwing around kind of thing.
Yeah, it seemed like it was like immediately just like sort of like a success. I mean, people enjoyed it, and then the more people got more and more invested in your games, and then it kind of went from there, I suppose.
Yep. So Soma Spirits came after that in 2016, and that was 4 years ago. No, 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years ago. I'm sorry. Brave Hero Yusha was 6 years ago. It's 2021 now. So Soma Spirits turns 5 this year.
The time goes by.
It does.
Yeah. Actually, Dick Killer, I've got a connection to Dick Killer in that we were trying to create a shared setting and chain game in Radiant Chain. I was working with them on that for a while, and then during the Skype days, those were sometimes. And then sort of, it probably won't ever be finished, but, it's Dick Killer's always been someone I really admire in terms of, just being a figure in the RPGmaker.net community that, helps out people and is generally cool guy.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see him get back into the scene too. He's been working on some maps, and he's been sharing maps on RMN, and there's some of the best maps that he's ever done. So I'm just really glad to see him back. So hey, Deck Killer.
Yeah, I should get him on the podcast sometime. That's your story. Thanks for sharing. Our next question comes from Dari. Sorry, I've learned to pronounce. I'll say that again. Our next question is not a word. Our next question comes from Dari, or S City Dreamer from Twitter, who asks, do you guys play other RPG Maker games for research?
Yes.
No.
There was a time when I did. Like, I had a thing where I, pretty soon after getting into the community, I was just like in over my head because my game was just like this. It was a really immense game, and it got some attention, but it was like mechanically kind of shitty. So I was like, what if I went into my research mode and I played a lot of RPG Maker games. I haven't done so in a long time, but yeah, I had a period where I was just playing just a bunch of games, and then for the IGMC, I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna I had a little thread on RPG Maker web where I was reviewing them.
Oh yeah,
and I played I don't even know how many, 20, 30 games.
You played my game as well. I remember that.
Yeah. I played a lot of games in that period, RPG Maker games, and yeah, it's really good. You should do it if you're working with RPG Maker. I think you should play. Look at sort of the top rated RPG Maker games and play a bunch of those, and then play just a bunch of the sort of detritus out there, because it's playing a bad RPG Maker game is really enlightening as to what, and for playing any game, when you're playing it, just be am I what is fun about this and what is not fun? So it's being able to see what's not fun about games is really useful when you first start making RPG Maker games, I found.
Yeah. And a great place to start with games would be starting with Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass. Brave.
Yeah, that's number one.
Soft
That's
plug.
a great game.
Brave
That is
Hero
a good
Yusha
game.
and Summer Spirits, and then go to Shooty and the Catfish, and then...
No, don't look at my game for an example of how to make RPG Maker games.
No,
I was going to say, because I was going to say, I never look at other RPG Maker games for, as research. My whole mentality is I play games in completely other genres, and then I'm I wonder if I can some way make that mechanic translate into the ammo system. And Shooting the Catfish was just I like Resident Evil 4 a lot, and I was I wonder if I can make that system work in RPG Maker. So I'm the opposite. I feel if you this is obviously the same for a lot of media, but I've always been if you spend a lot of time researching the same thing that you're trying to make, you kind of just end up making inbred versions of that, and it stifles creativity. Whereas if you're looking outside and then you're like, I really like that idea. I wonder if I can make that work in this. That's where like fresh new stuff comes in that makes people go, oh, hang on, this is different. That's for me personally.
Yeah, that's a good philosophy. Like, I think like the only addendum I would say though is like one of the benefits for looking at RPG Maker games specifically is that you sort of see the limitations, the edges of the engine. Which you don't really get from playing.
Yeah, I will say for mapping in particular, playing other RPG Maker games is a good way of seeing how not to map. Because I think I've gone on record of saying this before. I'd say 95% of RPG Maker games have bad mapping or uninteresting mapping.
I'm sorry.
Or they have good mapping. They have good mapping but bad level design. So it'll look really nice, but navigationally it'll be a complete. Not great.
That too.
Functionality
of the maps.
Yeah, they're two separate
the player
things.
Walk in a straight line, please.
Yeah, sometimes a straight line's fine. Sometimes a corridor is a good thing. But yeah, there's so many games I've played where it's like, this looks beautiful. Where do I go? What? And then I'm tripping over little elements on the map and stuff like that. And it's just like, oh, okay, this isn't fun.
It's good to play amateur games as well for research to show like what not to do as well. Because I think it's quite heartening. This sounds bad. It's quite heartening sometimes to play games that aren't amazing, just to go, oh, I can do that. If this is popular, then I can do something like this as well, sort of thing. Yeah, I find that.
I find that even if I'm not playing an RPG Maker game with the intention of studying it, I still find myself doing it regardless.
Yeah.
Like seeing what people did and, what we can learn from that.
And seeing
I study everything, honestly. Yeah. Not just, games. I try to incorporate everything into my games. But the benefit of RPG Maker games is that you see stuff you thought you couldn't do. For example, in 2016, I played a game called Brave Hero Yusha. And what made me want to make another game was hearing the text blip.
Oh, yeah.
That's all it took for me. Just hearing that was like, oh my god, you can have text blips in RPG Maker?
Yeah.
And that literally made me start working on Three Ghostly Roses. No joke.
Oh, wow.
Text blip. That's all it was, the text blip.
It goes the other way too, though. Like I remember when I first started, someone made an RPG Maker game with crafting in it, and then all of a sudden, like every RPG Maker game, and it's got a crafting system. And oh no!
It has to fit. It has to fit with your gameplay. It really does.
Yeah. Well, that's where feature creep comes in, I guess.
Yeah. Unity asks, wow, what an amazing lineup. This will be so awesome. I can't wait. Do you have ideas for games that won't work because of realistic constraints like time or engine limitations that you would totally make otherwise?
Yes.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Yeah.
It's definitely a time thing for me.
No.
I work a full-time job, so I think if I was using any other engine, like even Game Maker, it would take me like 4 times as long to finish a game.
Yeah.
Yep. I'd love to make a low poly Souls-like, but I don't have time to learn how to make 3D models.
Yes.
I don't have time to learn a 3D engine. I just it's so much more work, and it's just that's why I make little shitty 2D things. So that's all I got time for. Even that's a struggle.
I would love to make a game with similar graphics to Octopath Traveler, where it's like the 3D pixel art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I mean, yeah, like I have I guess time is the biggest problem. Like I have so many ideas. Like at this point I'm stepping out of RPG Maker and I'm working in Game Maker, so that kind of opens up like, the limitations on me.
You're leaving us.
I know, he's not invited onto the next podcast.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. Like if funding disappears, then maybe I'll scurry back to RPG Maker. But so the engine limitations aren't as big of a concern for me right now with what I'm designing. It's just like I've got so many ideas, and I only have so many years, on the planet, and then so it's like I have to pick, choose my ideas based on that. But and since I picked I like to make gigantic RPGs, like this is probably going to have like a 6-year dev cycle at least, and it's so that time is obviously the biggest problem. But one particular game that I do want to make is, or that I've wanted to make, but I've been like, well, I haven't been want to really like get into it. Is the just because of the time it would take to make it, and the fact that I want to focus more on RPGs. Is I do have a dream exploration game that's a dream exploration / life sim, and where you flip back and between your day to day and your dreams at night. And I can't I still kind of want to make it, so I don't want to get into like the particulars, but I'll say one thing. One thing is, the stuff that you purchase in your sort of day to day ends up will then go to your dreams, so you can item. So I had these ideas for these item puzzles that have multiple solutions, and because you just have all these different things you can buy. But yeah, I would say that's like the one concrete idea that I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever make this, but it's a really sharp idea and it has a lot of potential, but I'm just like, I don't have enough time.
The moment you put like the two words life and sim together, I was like, my ears perked up because that's my favorite genre. And and me and zDS and I were working on something sim related, but then he realized that I was a total diva and very difficult to work with. So I think that's kind of gone down the drain. So.
Cashmere Cat is a devil, honestly. The worst person I've ever met. Horrible person.
Hey, same back.
Can you give users ratings on RPG.net? Do you just look at a Cashmere Cat and it's like got a 1-star review?
Yeah, I mean,
that'd be great.
If you could give reviews to people,
0.5.
You know.
0.5.
Can spell name correctly. That's the half point there.
Yeah. Anyone else have an answer to that question that they'd like to speak on?
No, I'm just thinking about how much I'd like to make a 3D low poly Souls. Like, how sad I am that I'll never get to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, MV and MZ have like 3D plugins, don't they?
Yeah, it does, and they are trash. I've messed around with them. Look, I got a GT, I got a 2080 in there. I've got 32 gigs of RAM, and it runs at about 18 frames a second. So, no. Yeah, like just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. It's neat that it works, but it's the most. Just you can't optimize.
Hey, that's like Dark Souls 1 on PS3.
Yeah, it's the same experience. Yeah, it's just that the optimizations aren't there. It's running entirely off Java. You can't offload it to the GPU or the CPU. It's neat in concept.
Hind asks, I hope I'm not too late. I have 2 questions. You aren't too late because you're on the document that we are sharing on Google Docs. Too much information. To Sgt MT, your character designs have become a signature of your games. What are your inspirations when coming up with character designs, and do you have a particular character design that's your favorite?
You draw something and then you put googly eyes on it. That's basically my
the
design
rare
philosophy.
technique.
The rare technique, yeah. So my character designs came from a few different places, and they've kind of evolved among different inspirations over time. Brave Hero Yusha, very obviously, that's a very, very Dragon Quest inspired game. So a lot of the Dragon Quest that came from it was more like Dragon Quest as it was in Japan. When Dragon Quest came over to the Stasis Dragon Warrior, they, redid all the art in a lot of aspects of it to be more westernized. But part of Brave Hero Yusha's, story is kind of like celebrating what made those kinds of RPGs popular originally. So I kind of went with more of like, the Japanese look of it, more cutesy, of a very, very like early Akira Toriyama sort of thing going on. I especially love like his work on like Dragon Quest 2 and 3. So a lot of the character designs came from Dragon Quest 2 specifically. Like I designed a party around 3 different party members. Dragon Quest II had 3 different party members that all kind of like played off each other and their strengths and weaknesses. So I kind of did the same thing there, where it's a party of 3 rather than a party of 4, like in later Dragon Quest games. But I'm getting off track now, so I'm going to get back to how I designed the characters. The influences, definitely Dragon Quest, and then for Soma Spirits, it was more like a Rareware, Earthbound sort of thing, where I did the whole, objects with googly eyes and, just sentient things with faces that people seem to really like. So I really liked doing that, and I kind of just started doing that from everything thereafter. Crescent Prism was another project that I was working on that unfortunately decided not to go forward with after a certain point, but I took a lot of what was in Soma Spirits, the things that I put into Soma Spirits, like the sentient things with faces, and kind of added that to Crescent Prism. But after that project fell through, I guess my inspiration started changing a little bit. They got a lot less like Rareware and more of like a Kirby look. So I kind of designed things to be like, simplistic shapes, basic shapes, cute little faces on things. Things that, one thing that I really like from Dragon Quest in particular is there's just monsters on the overworld that you can talk to, and there's no question about it. They're just there, they're friendly, and they don't have any justification whatsoever. So I kind of like designing monsters around that. Like, it's the kind of thing that you might find in the overworld, and they might give you an item or a hint or tell you where to go next. So I kind of like design both characters and monsters to be like sort of like interchangeable, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and as for probably the rest of the guests, just quickly, just maybe reel off, what's your character design of your own that's just like your favorite that you've done?
Kevin Bacon. Clearly. It's a big bit of bacon with teeth. And his name's Kevin. Genius. Comedy writing, that's why I got nominated for Masao. Purely nominated for the Comedy Award for that character design. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Kevin Bacon.
He's good. Kevin Bacon.
Well, I missed that part of the question the first time. I apologize. So, my favorite character design, probably Count Chroma from Crescent Prism. I just like the idea of villains in capes and top hats and just having a very classy look to them. Because I really like Super Paper Mario and the villain of that game, Count Bleck. And Count Chroma was kind of like based on that character, because I just like that whole aesthetic.
Yeah.
Angry TVs.
Yes, angry TVs.
I'd probably say mine was there's a giant spider in Jimmy called Whisper, and it was like the first monster, or like I think it was the first monster I drew for Jimmy, and it was sort of like I drew it and I was like, I spent a long time on it, and I didn't spend that long on the other drawings, which is probably a problem. I would, when I finished it, I was like, oh yeah, I can do this. Like, I was like, this actually looks good. Yeah. So that was like, that's probably my favorite, like, monster design.
Yeah.
For mine, it's probably Edmund. It just worked, I guess. Or the Mount.
Okay. Yeah, good designs. I would like to go a question to Kasey Ozymy. There are many segments of Jet PM that are open to theories based on clues provided in the game. When writing a story like that, do you have a personal canon of what everything means or symbolizes, or are the multiple interpretations part of the canon? And Jet PM is Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass.
Yeah, I have intentions. So like, like if somebody is playing it and they have a different interpretation than what I had intended, I still think that's like valid and fine, and I think it's also just kind of the fun of having sort of game based in a dream, or any kind of surrealist component. Like, but like for me, I'm a really big planner. I really like things. Something that I just really appreciate in kind of like any kind of medium, so like film or whatever, is like whenever I can see how everything is just really well constructed. So yeah, I have intentions for everything, and maybe they don't always come through clearly, and they are supposed to be a little bit like a little bit unclear, not necessarily unclear, but it's sort of in the realm of symbolism, so which of course can be interpreted multiple ways. But yeah, like I like have that backbone of like a solid reasoning behind everything.
I must say that thanks to Punkitt, DungeonDevDude, and Meebob for asking questions. Unfortunately, we can't get through all the questions this time round. So, but these questions might be answered in other questions as well. But I just wanted to thank you personally for submitting questions we won't be able to answer, unfortunately, because of time concerns. But yes, I would like to ask another question by Sheryl or Ashley Stelly or Starlight Loon from Twitter, who asks, for everyone to answer, when balancing? Nope, that's not a word. When balancing an RPG, what do you think is the sweet spot for stats? Do you prefer games that have you end around level 30, or games that have you end around level 70, 100, or 500, or something else, a good HP endpoint, etc.?
I don't know. This is, I guess, kind of a weird one, because I don't think there really is a sweet spot. It kind of depends on like the underlying intentions and mechanics of the game. So, like something like the Paper Mario series, like it makes sense that you keep stats really low because those are supposed to be stripped back. Whereas like something like Disgaea, the whole point is
numbers.
Big stupid numbers. Yeah. So
yeah, I was thinking that too.
It really depends. I mean, I think like I think the sort of like Final Fantasy style like 99 cap is like kind of the standard, yeah, and for a reason. Yeah, I think that works fine.
It's
but
pretty
satisfying
when you get that 999 coming up one after the other, and you're just like, big numbers. What does that even mean? Who fucking knows? It doesn't matter at that point. Yeah, but it seems to be like up to like 100. Like the brain can like think about that pretty well. Like, but I guess beyond that, my brain starts to go, what does level 170 something mean? Is that good or bad? Well, there's got to be a certain point where it's just the big numbers are there just as a dopamine hit to make you feel like you've done something massive, more so than the actual technical number that it's referencing.
That's RPG in a nutshell, honestly.
There's also like a scale, like the issue of scale of like and scope of the game. Yeah. So I think why like 99, 100, why that works is because that sort of syncs up with, if you're making like a 40 plus hour game, like, that's a way to have that sort of like consistent progression across that time. Whereas if you had like a level cap of 10, 10 levels over the course of, 40 hours you're not going to feel like you're progressing that much in that time. But I mean, like you can progress in other ways too. So I don't even want to like limit it based on that. It's just sort of like, I feel like that's like the question sort of is like focusing on like a superficial aspect of, just the window dressing and not like the core, mechanic.
The level number should just reinforce the mechanics, I suppose. It should just sort of make sense story-wise, I suppose.
Yeah, and the tone.
Yeah.
I guess if I want to approach this question in terms of like what kinds of numbers I personally like using in my games, I like the middle of the road like Dragon Quest numbers where it's not like in the thousands like in Final Fantasy, but it's not like super super low like Paper Mario, which I don't really like for some reason. I kind of think about it as like how impactful is every level going to be?
Yeah.
How impactful is each point of HP going to be? So it's one of those things where I can't really plan around it right away, and I kind of have to figure it out as I go.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really hard to say, hey, this game should end at level 20 or level 30.
Yeah.
Because I don't know at that point, like, how impactful my mechanics are going to be to those numbers.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. Like, I think at the end of shooting the Catfish, you're around level 17, 18 or something like that. And it's just because that's how... I didn't really mess around with the XP numbers much, and it's just like, that's where it ended up at the end, and I was like, ah. But I guess then it became more about the items you could unlock over that period being what put the numbers up more so than the levels themselves.
There we go. Yeah, thank you, Sheryl, for asking that question. Saturn, Human Breening asks, well, great question. I will say that again. Saturn, Human Breening, great name by the ask.
Are you okay?
Let me just regain
6
my sanity.
times the charm.
Okay, take 3. Saturn, Human Breening asks, great name, by the way. Lovely name. The question starts and ends, the whole question goes like this. Do you prefer light-hearted or more cynical games? Does it reflect in your work?
Well, personally, I actually like lighthearted games better.
Mm-hmm.
And if you played my games, you know it gets a bit dark sometimes. But I try to have some sort of hope in them. Because, like, example, without spoiling, I played The Last of Us 2 last year, and it was just too cynical. There was no meaning behind it. It was just cynical. And I like to have bad situations in my game where characters find hope or find meaning behind it. Even in my genderless bug game, I thought I was making like there is a good that came from this, but people disagreed, so my intentions were otherwise. That's all I'll say about that. I didn't mean to make it that dark. It was mostly improvised anyway.
That's your saddest game. Well, one of them.
I feel like there's kind of like this question like is trying to there's like supposed to be this like dichotomy, right, where it's like it either has to be like fun and happy or like it can get dark. I think is probably more what the question is like aiming for. I feel like I'm kind of objecting to the word cynical because I feel like things can be sad but not cynical.
Yeah.
So, but like
that's true.
They're not opposites.
Yeah. So right, like if that's so, if the distinction is more like in terms of tone, do you like things that are like lighter or darker? In that case, I would say generally I lean more towards darker, but that doesn't mean that I don't like. I like lighthearted stuff, and I like combining the two as well. Like I don't see why these two things can't coexist.
Absolutely.
I feel like Jimmy did that. I feel like you can have levity in a dark game, and that's absolutely fine. But like, I mean, I like games, or I guess media that is like trying to say something that the creators find important. And if that's lighthearted, that's great. But I feel like the problem with a lot of lighthearted games is you can sort of, if someone is approaching a game saying like with just sort of like I want you to have like fun with this, like that's not necessarily bad. Like there's definitely games that are enjoyable that I've played that that do that. But I feel like if you do that, you may kind of sacrifice the being able to say something.
Yeah,
and For me, just like for the games I want to make more than anything, that's like, I don't want to do that. But, so yeah, I guess I would say, based on that, I'd say cynical, but I feel like cynical is the wrong word because I feel like a cynical game isn't fun.
Yeah.
Like if it's cynical, that's
true. Cynical. It's the wrong word. If it's sad, I prefer sad. But at the same time, I think that lighthearted is a lot harder to pull off, and I respect anyone who does it.
Mm-hmm.
It depends, like, because to me, it would be pretty easy. I feel to do something lighthearted, like that, just for my personality. Like yeah, I can come up with jokes really easily, and just having something without that like that additional substance to me is where like a lot of the work is making, and that's like I'm attracted to in game development or in just making any kind of art.
It's personality dependent sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel like with Shooting the Catfish, episode 2 got too cynical. I wasn't in a good place when I made that. I don't like it. Going back to it now. But yeah, it's definitely like as I've gotten older, I kind of prefer light-hearted stuff. But even like let's just use an example of like Doom Eternal, which is generally like superficially quite dark, and obviously it's gory and stuff, but through that gore,
lighthearted dark.
Yeah, the gore is so fucking cartoony that it balances it out. Like the gore is so not serious. It's there to make you laugh and smile at how over the top it is. Like RoboCop.
Yeah.
Everything should be like RoboCop. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the line. That's my line there.
Yeah, honestly, like Doom Eternal feels like one of those gory and sort of like grotesque games that's extremely lighthearted. Like it's very funny.
Yeah, it doesn't take itself seriously at all. And I love games that do. Like I hated. Like at the time, I didn't like the not Last Generation with the Adrenaline. Well, Last Generation 2, how everything just took itself super seriously, but particularly on the Xbox 360 and PS3 era when everything was dark and serious. And I guess I blamed the Dark Knight. Everything wanted to be the Dark Knight. And it's just fucking miserable. Like I can't go back and play many games from that period and enjoy them because they're all just got their heads so firmly planted up their asses trying to pretend that they're serious. And it's just like, oh! And I'm glad we're kind of losing that a little bit now. And the indie scene's definitely helping with that too. But writing something that's just comedy in a game is really, really hard. And there's nothing less enjoyable than a comedy game that isn't funny.
That's very dark.
That's a good point.
That's the real darkness.
That's kind of funny at the same time, though. Watching someone be unfunny is funny.
Yeah,
that was like
not being funny is
Norm
funny.
Macdonald's like creed. Like Norm Macdonald used to say that the funniest thing ever is watching someone bomb on stage.
There's that, but then there's the kind when it, like if you were to sit down and watch a bad sitcom or a bad comedy movie and you just kind of bored the whole time. And there's a lot of indie games that are like that. They just don't quite hit the mark. And usually it's delivery that kills it. Sometimes the jokes are good, but the delivery timing's not right.
Well, it's because when someone's bombing on stage, there's a reaction that's funny. Like it's like
yes,
if there was a bad game and there's someone reacting to it that's not. It might be funny because you're just watching someone react badly to. That's why when we watch YouTube channels where people are playing the worst games ever, they're extremely entertaining because they're just dunking on the entire time.
Yeah, it becomes a community experience. If you're just doing it on your own in isolation, it's just miserable.
Well, we strayed from the question.
We did a little bit.
Oh yeah. I just wanted to back up a bit on like the question of lighthearted versus cynical.
Yep.
Soma Spirits was literally both. You had one world where everybody was lighthearted and the other world where everybody was cynical. But I kind of tried to present both of those ideas as imperfect. Not to present like one as better than the other. So I tried to, kind of balance them both. But as a player, I think as I get older, I definitely am gravitating more towards like games that make me feel good.
Yeah.
The world's shit, and any extra joy we can get out of things is good.
Saturn asks, lastly, Train A is travelling 70 miles per hour away from East Town towards West Town, 260 miles away. At the same time, Train B is heading the opposite way at 60 miles per hour. When will they meet?
In 2 hours.
Boo!
Somebody else can answer this one.
Yeah, it's in 2 hours. I mean, you just multiply. You got 70 miles per hour. Multiply by 2 is 140, and the other one was 60 miles per hour. Multiply by 2 is 120, and add them together is 260 miles. It's the distance they were apart, right?
Well, it
sounds like a question for Reverend Lovejoy.
It's a trick question. They're both heaven trained, so they'll meet in heaven. That's the real answer. Canon, at Lord Blue Rouge, which is the wonderful, fabulous Lord Blue Rouge from the RPG Maker Cold Discord and RPGmaker.net asks, damn it, I want to ask these guys questions but can't think of anything. The previous episode was so good. No slight to Sergeant. Visitors from Dream. What projects do you have planned after Shooting the Catfish?
Yeah, right. Yeah, Shooting the Catfish is pretty much done now. The last patch I released just because Sargent said he was going to play it, and I was like, I got to fix this bug that might lock you out of playing your character's cameo. So I consider the game fully patched now. There's probably still problems.
I fought them and I killed them.
Yeah, that's what's important. No, they were still there afterwards. I gave you things. Yeah, so my current project, which I haven't touched because I work in retail and we don't get breaks. Yeah, so I'm working on a game. My nephew wrote it about 3 years ago. He gave me a list of instructions of what he wanted. It's called Strike the Last Tiger. Everything is his idea. I'm just fleshing it out and drawing it all, although some of his illustrations will also be in the game. And they're quite different to mine.
It sounds
Turning
awesome.
them into pixel art is going to be an interesting task.
How old is he? By the way?
At the time, he was 5, so he's about 8
Oh
now.
my
He's been
God.
patiently waiting for me
to. X-Cop situation.
Yeah, he's been patiently waiting for me to make this game for him for the last 3 years while I finished off Shooty.
And he's 17 now. Yeah.
He's 17. Shooty the Catfish did have an 8-year development cycle.
Oh, wow, he is.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's going to be very, very lighthearted, very stupid. In fact, everything I'm making from now on is going to be very stupid. I'm not interested in making anything dark or cynical anymore. I'm over it. But yeah, it's going to be a prequel to Shooting the Catfish, but it's set after Flatwoods, and they've got the stupidest lore surrounding all this stuff, and none of it lines up properly. But he's the last tiger, and the aliens that were in Flatwoods and when we're in the Flatwoods swamp and Shooting the Catfish, it's about that initial invasion, and he was the guy that fought them off. So yeah, that's going to be fun. Very, very much smaller than Shooting the Catfish. I want it to be able to get the whole game done, start to finish in a year. That's my goal, anyway.
Nice.
So, got to find someone to do music for it. But yeah, other than that, everything will be by myself again, and I get to reuse a ton of assets. So it's mostly just coming up with new enemies and stuff, and writing all the dialogue, which is the fun stuff.
Yeah. And none of us would know about reusing assets. No. Yeah, it's Espy asks, not a question, but a demand for zDS to release screenshots of new game coinciding with this podcast's release.
I will add a question mark there just to be polite, but
How
SB,
many years ago did your Cope Island come out?
the original one, that was 2014.
No, the remake.
Oh, that was 2019, I think.
Was it really only last year?
2 years ago now. Oh, there we go.
You've been sitting on screenshots for 2 years, denying us all progress reports.
2 years.
2 years of silence.
Well, with Cope Island, the way I marketed it was just awful. I released information too early, had a long middle where I showed nothing. And then I kind of just vomited content to end. It's just... So this time I'm being more careful about, just showing stuff.
2 years is a long time.
So that's why I'm sitting on it, because I want to reveal it with a trailer, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, that's smooth. I'm doing the same thing. I think that's the right move.
And zDS also needs a marketing manager, which my arms are wide open to accept that offer.
Well, you are fired from last time.
What? I was brought.
Did an awful
I was
job.
brought on 2 weeks before release. What am I supposed to do? Make magic?
No, you did great. Really, you did great. To kind of answer SB's question, that is entirely up to when this episode actually releases. Yeah. Because honestly, I'm about 40% done with the game.
Oh,
maybe even more.
Ooh.
And I'm very close to the point where I'm going to finally reveal it.
Wow. That's more than I thought it would be, honestly.
Yeah, I've been working hard the past few months, so I went from 5% to 40% in 2 months, probably.
Man, that's a pandemic for you.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
Trapped inside.
Actually, I'm working full time.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, wow.
How do you do it?
But my job has downtime. That's how I do it.
That must be nice.
Hey, my job, if you're listening, just ignore what I said. Don't fire me.
He loves you.
Don't sue me, whatever.
There is no downtime. I'm always working.
I'm working very hard.
Job, he loves you. Yeah.
On your game.
Yes, I'm working very hard on my game. And in fact, most of my development time in my other games have not been there. Wink, wink. Just...
Should get them to sponsor your games.
Oh dear. Yeah. That's a good question slash statement, SB. Thank you for asking, stating. Yeah, we are going to go into our next segment now, called the deep dive. Blah, 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 deep dive. In this section, we dive deep into each of our guest projects and figure out what went on during the process, inspirations, and elsewise. But since we have, 4 guests, and there's a lot to go through, I'm kind of going to do, a quick sort of survey, and then just ask generic questions of all 4 of us. Sniff, sniff, very sad, I'm sorry. I do this every time, but it's just the nature of the beast. There's 4 guests, what can you do? Yeah, so we are going to start with a game called Jimmy and the Pulsing, I keep my words.
Pulsating.
Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass, which is a fresh game. This is a full-length RPG.
Fresh.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you haven't heard of it, you probably have and forgot about it. It's on Steam. It's fresh. It worked on for over 4 years on RPGmaker.net. We will claim it forever. And while the graphics may seem to be inspired by Earthbound, the game is very different. There's just humor. It's very character centric, and it's based around step progression and sort of gaining strength by imagining what it's like to be the different monsters Jimmy comes across. This is a fantastic game. If you haven't played it, which you probably have, but forgot about it, but if you haven't, then just go out and buy it and play it, because it's an RPG Maker must-have. It's on pretty much every RPG Maker developer's shrine that they've built to RPG Maker. So, I would like to ask, just generally about Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass. I'm trying to figure out what I haven't asked from the last time.
When's it coming to Switch?
Yeah, all that.
Yeah, whenever someone does it for me.
So how? I guess I'll ask about the general experience of making this game. What was it about, and where did it come from, and how did it? Did it end up exactly how you wanted it? What was the impetus behind this game?
Okay, yeah. So I guess it started. Let's see, when was I'm trying to think of the timeline of my life here. I think it was after a very long rope, and I was like, I wanted to make a game because the entire reason I made a very long rope was I kind of wanted to get into RPG dev, and it was kind of hey, look, I can write, was why I put that out there, and I can compose, and then the game wasn't good, so not a lot of people really loved it. A few people did, to my surprise, but and then I took a lot of time to sort of ask myself what do I even like about RPGs, so I started Jimmy as it was going to probably be about 8 hours long, 10 hours. It was going to be significantly shorter and more streamlined. The whole idea was I'm going to make something to show people that I know how to fucking design. That was the entire point. It was just I'm going to show people I can design, and then I'm going to get a big it was basically this weird mindset that literally everyone that goes to RPGmaker.net feels it first. They're I'm going to recruit all these people, and they're going to help make my game for me, and it's going to be amazing. So that was I was I'm going to show that I'm a great dev, and then I'm going to get people are going to be interested, and then I'm going to have this big collaboration, and it's going to work great. So I started Jimmy with that mindset. And then the IGMC hit, and I was ooh, I can make another game. I'll just make a game in this 30-day window. And that was Heart Pumps Clay, and I was going to show people that, I can design. And I did that. And then I was just what am I even doing with Jimmy anymore? Because this was the entire point of Jimmy. And then I did that with Heart Pumps Clay, and it sort of didn't get a big audience either.
Yeah.
And I was just fuck it. I'll just make a full length game by myself. Because I was like, I felt like I had all of the skill set at that point. Like the biggest one that was missing was art, and I had done some on Heart Pumps Clay, and it was like most of the art on that was terrible, but like some of the like enemy graphics were actually pretty solid, and I was like, why don't I just try to do everything and like just like grew from the lessons that I learned there. So Jimmy just kind of grew up and got way way sharper and more detailed. So
yeah, and Heart Pumps Clay was kind of difficult as well. Like it was like experimenting with gameplay and things, and I can't remember. It was something about HP. It would get less and less, it was like it was you were getting weaker as you went or something. It was very very interesting.
Yeah, the idea was that you had a one of the characters in your party was a mud golem that would like slowly lose like the mud that comprised his body as you went through the game. So like that basically meant that his max hit points went down as you went forward, and he was essentially your tank. And then I had this idea where I was like, based on the equipment that you find as you go up, you give that to the other characters, and they kind of cover for him, and it sort of like worked in with the sort of the themes going on in that game. But yeah, it was that's part of the reason why it didn't do so great is it was tough. Yeah. Like it was a difficult game, and yeah, that is a problem.
Yeah, and it had some like mixed assets, I suppose. Like people would see the RTP and go, "Oh, that's RTP," but like as soon as you created this whole the art style for Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass, and then it all looks very consistent and just like really like so much work went into it, and because
that was a lesson. That was a big lesson from Heart Pumps Clay, because I mixed because we had only we had 30 days, so I just didn't have time, and I had a I would use the RTP like grass and stuff, and then have my own shittily drawn characters on top of it, and it looks weird, and that was there was like, oh yeah, I got to fix that.
Yeah. I think last episode we talked a lot about the success, and we talked a lot about the marketing and stuff like that. So if anyone has any questions about the commercial success of Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass, and even I think we went into all the details of the step-by-step process of making like the game layer by layer, you can go and check out that episode previously. I'm going to quickly switch to Soma Union by Sgt M. Our next game is Soma. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Our next game is Soma Union by Sgt M. Set 100 years after the true ending of Soma Spirit, Soma Union aims to be, it says a short 3 to 5 hour RPG, but then that's been crossed out, so maybe it's a bit longer now, of some undetermined length, there we go, that returns to the world of Soma. Or so it would, if Soma had not been destroyed in a great calamity. And apparently you roam through the cosmos to find the missing fragments of your homeworld, and you meet a colourful cast of characters, literally, and make important choices that may not be as clear as they seem. You embark on a galaxy spanning quest to put Soma back together again. There's a role system that pits characters with the damage-dealing power role and the enhancing support role, and you unleash powerful spirit abilities. You collect valuable power gems to skip random encounters with the usual Sgt M fully custom visuals, a stellar soundtrack by Special Agent Ape. Shout out to Special Agent Ape, and funny jokes. Very funny.
I hope.
Yeah. Whenever you're writing a joke, you always hope that it's funny.
You don't get to decide that the jokes are funny.
Yeah, you have to sort of have some degree of confidence in yourself. Yeah, so we'll dive into Soma Union. Soma Union is part of the Soma series. Am I correct in saying that? Yeah. Yes.
I don't know if we could call it the Soma series or the Soma Spirits series.
All right.
I call it the Soma Spirit series. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it is the sequel to the true ending of Soma Spirits, particularly Soma Spirits Rebalance. There were a couple of plot changes in the updated re-release, so That will all be included in Soma Union if you haven't played the definitive version of the game. But yes, it is the sequel, and that 3 to 5 hours definitely went out the door very quickly. So it's looking more like 10, maybe even 12 hours at this point.
Oh, wow.
Damn!
Yeah, so it's going to be considerably longer than the first game. This is about the same length as what I had intended Crescent Prism to be. So this is kind of like my big one.
And how are you feeling about the game so far? Is it going as expected? Is it are you finding it fun? Is it good?
Well, I would say that Crescent Prism was a very, very big learning experience with me. That was the game that I was developing before I started Soma Union. But it had a lot of development troubles. It was poised to be about 10 to 12 hours, as Soma Union is probably going to end up being. But I didn't plan it very well, and I kind of just went in without a game plan. So it had a lot of development troubles. Once it got to a certain point, the quality started to drop. So I learned a lot of lessons on how to organize things through that project. So when I started off with Soma Union, one of the biggest changes that I made for my development cycle was make all the big decisions early. Design everything so that if you need to change something major, you'll be able to do it more easily. I will say common events are your friend, so please use them.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm really enjoying the project. It's going to be considerably longer than the first game, so there's going to be a lot more content, a lot more character development. And I can't speak about the story too much, unfortunately. Something I've been a little tight-lipped about.
Confidential.
Only because... Yeah, it's confidential, only because it's a sequel. So if I was to reveal too much about the story, people could potentially guess things based on existing lore. And I think that goes true for anybody developing a sequel. It's just, be careful about what you share. But it's going to do a lot of things a lot differently than Soma Spirits did. It'll have a lot of different morals, a lot of different, messages than Soma Spirits did, but kind of has like the same sort of feeling to it. So I will say the aspects of Soma Spirits that I chose to expand upon in this sequel might not necessarily be the ones that people are expecting, but I hope people will like the aspects that I did choose to expand on. I think it's going to be a very Chrono Cross kind of sequel.
Oh, nice.
Time travel.
Awesome. Yeah, wow, that sounds great. And it's really, teasing people who have played Soma Spirits, to get excited about Soma Union. And there's what's it called? There's a demo available, download. You can go check that out.
Yes. Yes, that came out over the summer, and it hasn't changed too much since then. One thing I wanted to do for this project was, when I put a demo out, I wanted to be representative of the final product.
Yeah.
So the demo is very, very much representative of what I hope the game will be. So feel free to take a look and let me know what you think.
Yeah, sure thing. Let's everybody go download Soma Union, play it, have fun. Oh, one thing. Should they play Soma Spirits before they play Soma Union?
So I'm designing the game in mind for people who may not have necessarily played the first game. The one thing I will say about the story is that a lot of the specific events that happen during Soma Spirits aren't super important in the grand scheme of Soma Union, because it takes place 100 years later. So that's more than enough time for, new lore to happen and new stories to happen. So I'm not really relying too much on like the original cast, because there's a 100-year gap, with some very notable exceptions, which you'll have to find out more about when the game comes out.
Intrigue. No, it's Soma Union, and you should play it. Go ahead and play it, even if you haven't played Soma Spirits. Just go play that, both of them, and Brave Hero Yusha. Just go play them all. That's the game of Sgt M. We're going to move on to Visitor's Game, which we've chosen to be, again, Shooty and the Catfish. We're going to dive into...
But this time it's out.
What's that?
This time it's out. It's finished now.
Yeah, this time it is finished. We get both sides of the equation, in development and then complete. Shooty and the Catfish Fully Reloaded is part RPG, part visual novel, and all part stupid, apparently. I'm just reading the description. Weird things are going on. It's up to our two hero monster hunters, Shooty and Zat, to solve these unsolvable mysteries. Only they aren't really heroes and they don't ever really solve anything. Spoilers. So this game has a really colourful visual style and just, normal combat system, turn-based combat system, and lots of pop culture references. Of course, you referenced earlier, there's Kevin Bacon, which is literally a strip of Kevin named Bacon. A strip of bacon named Kevin.
I've got to bring that into the next game. A strip of Kevin named Bacon.
Yeah, oh no, I don't want to see what that looks like. It features an original EDM soundtrack by Jim Hort with additional secret tracks by the aforementioned Secret Agent Ape. Both shouts out to Jim Hort and Secret Agent Ape again, making the big moves. So there's like bosses, dungeons, and all this sort of stuff. And within the shared world of Flatwoods, so like Shooting the Catfish, it is done. It is complete.
It felt so good when I finished it until I released it and the bug reports started coming in. Other than that, it felt really good. I think I released 7 rounds of patches in the first 2 weeks it was out, and then was 2 more over the next 4 months. But most of the bugs that I actually was from watching Let's Plays of it. Is how I learned a lot. Let's Plays, if you can get your videos in front of Let's Players, they're like the best testers for stuff. And they've got like a recorded history there. Some people don't want people to know their games have bugs. If it wasn't for Let's Players, 80% of the bugs in my game wouldn't have been found, and it was from them fucking around doing stuff that obviously I never thought to do because I knew how to play the damn thing. And that's the mindset. That's the dangerous thing. I built it, this is how you play it, and then someone plays it in ways you didn't intend, and everything's broken. But yeah, no, it went well. It was well received on itch at least. I didn't ask for money for it. I just had the options for donations, and I got like $400 in donations.
Oh my god!
Wow!
Yeah, which is so nice. I've spoken to people. I'm not going to name them or anything, but people who've released stuff commercially on Steam and made significantly less than I made in donations.
That's me.
Yeah, that's me too. And yeah, I think that's the interesting part is too, because obviously I'm part of the RPG Maker community to a degree, but most of the people who play my games that I've learned aren't people who are looking for RPG Maker stuff, and obviously, as someone who doesn't adhere to fantasy and the usual stuff you'd expect from the engine, I kind of attract a different audience. But yeah, no, it really it was a pretty good release. I'm pretty happy with how it came out, other than, as I mentioned earlier, episode 2, because the game was originally going to be episodes, and then I said, fuck it, I'll just make it one game. But yeah, the key to getting it finished was unemployment. So if you want to get a game done, lose your job. There's a little tip for you kids at home.
I might from this podcast
striving to be game developers.
Yeah, that's true. We might have done you a favor,
That's true.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, no, really, really, really proud of how it's come out. It's not particularly deep, and it gets very, very easy as you go. And the game's challenge-wise is completely broken. It's not challenging at all, but that's all right. It is what it is. And what it is a culmination of 7 or 8 years of me changing my mind on infinite numbers of things. So the fact that it came out as a cohesive project at all is kind of shocking, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite evident in the way that you approach games and just the game development design in general that you don't mind not taking yourself too seriously. So a lot of the kinds of stuff
there's plenty of other people out there making stuff or more serious stuff, and I'm glad that those games are out there. I'm glad there are games out there addressing issues and minorities and things like that. I wish I could get on board with it myself, but I also feel kind of out of place because I'm just a beardy white man with skewed views that's trying to improve their outlook on everything and learn as much as they can, but that doesn't mean that I feel comfortable talking or telling people about stuff. I try to do my research. I did a lot of talking to people about stuff that I did touch on there. like the suicide and that sort of stuff in there. And even then, I felt kind of uncomfortable for a while with the way it was presented in the game. But someone kindly reminded me that they're all capitalist pigs, so it's all right. So who cares? They can all jump. We're all feeling it again now. But yeah. It's I guess because I came into it from such a weirder place than everyone else. Like, I wasn't someone who grew up thinking, I want to make games. I just got sick of making cartoons and said, I can apply these skills to this. And so I've always had like a little bit of like an outsider and a different perspective, I feel, to a lot of the other people in the community, which is, so the fact that I have got support from the community has been great.
Yeah. And I think one of my favorite parts about your game is that you can have a character that says, nah, mate, bugger off, not allowed in, eh?
Yeah, it's funny because there was another game that came out, I think it was last year, and it was about it was set in Melbourne, and it was like a visual novel set in like a cafe, and it was full of spirits or something, and waiting for the afterlife. And people were like, "Oh, this is the most Australian game ever! I'm so glad someone's made a game that's not ashamed to be Australian." And I'm like, "Oh, dude, my mimics are fucking ibises that live in the garbage bins. That's the most Australian thing you could ever put in the game." Maybe one day I'll get picked up too as being one of those weird cult Australian projects, because there is a lot of game development that happens here, but a lot of it's either outsourced or it's pretending not to be Australian, and that's always really bugged me, because I feel like even when Australians are in video games, we're really, it's weird to say misrepresented, because we're obviously not a minority or anything like that group, but it's always Americans pretending to be Australians, and it's people's idea of what Australians are based on movies from the 80s. There's no Damo and Darrens out there, which is what Australia's really like. So I tried to tap into that.
It felt really from the heart.
Yeah. I'm proud of who I am. I'm not proud of what we've done as a nation or anything. It's pretty disgusting, but I'm proud of how I am and how far I've come, and I hope that's reflected, because I guess that's the thing, right? When you spend 8 years working on a single project, like I did that game, which went through so many changes in format and ideas and that sort of thing. It's kind of, I can look back at it and I can see my own personal evolution as a human as the game progresses, which I think is pretty neat.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, such a good game. I need to play more of it, but like I only got a part of it. But
I don't know if I'd say it's a good game. It's an interesting game, I think, to the right people, and that to me is more than enough.
Yeah, that's what you're aiming for. Yeah, wow. I mean, it's an interesting way to think about it. I'm gonna move to zDS's game Cope Island Adrift, which is was the third place winner based on the third place winner of the Indie Game Maker Contest's 2014's RPG section. It returns rebuilt from scratch and better than ever, where it's just an island full of secrets. But it's not just that. It's very kind of cryptic, and you have lots of weapon combos and solid sort of gameplay. I have played and sort of finished this one, and and I don't know if I got all the endings. I didn't. There's like secrets galore in this game. But yeah, zDS knows this. zDS knows that he probably gained like about $5 from this, and that was the $5 that I paid to play the game. But in my opinion, it deserved way more. Like, I feel it was a real bummer. That's just me being honest. I feel like this game deserved more than it got. But anyway, that's just me. I don't know. It's a lot of it's a really interesting game, gameplay design wise, and I think it's actually quite close to zDS's heart as well. The sort of themes that are underlying of the island, so much so that I completed the game, I'm zDS's friend, and there's a lot of things about the game I still don't know. So yeah, zDS, maybe give our listeners a little bit of a primer on what Cope Island Adrift means to you.
Well, to start this off, I made the game knowing that it would not be a huge success, but I also made it in a way where, like, if I make something in the future that is good, people can go back and buy it, and I won't be ashamed. So, even though it's not the most successful game now, who knows, it might be one day. And I still made a profit, so all's good there. To move on to your question, it's pretty much asking what it means to me. It's really weird because I almost quit making games after that stupid contest that I love, and because I really worked hard on it and I felt like I failed. And every day I would check for results, and suddenly I got third place, and still don't know why or how, but it happened. And I really felt like I owed the game to make it as good as I wanted to make it, because I only took 20 days at most on it. I was late on joining the contest in the first place. And I had a lot of ideas for it that I couldn't, do. But even then, most of those ideas changed over time because I sat on it for 5 years and I just really thought about it about every day. So what it means to me is kind of a complex question for me to answer, because it's just I really wanted to pay back the attention it gave me, because I really never released anything publicly before. I've been making games for a long time, but that's the first time I released something public, and it got positive reception, way more than I ever expected or even deserved. So I felt like I owed to give it everything I had. So I made sure that every detail of that game was, me being honest about something. I'm not sure what, but I just thought it deserved honesty.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite an interesting journey that you've had with, all the games that you've been creating. And it seems like, I'd say that it seems like each of your game has a different personal side of yourself to it. And the way you approach it is very kind of hard on sleeve, in a very sort of not very indirect way, but a little bit of a, it has some kind of spiritual. I mean, I might be wrong, but it has some kind of spiritual aspect to it. I don't know. Am I putting more meaning into it?
I'm not really a spiritual person, but I do not disagree with that, because a lot of these games come from me thinking of just having an imagination about the afterlife, or just overall spirituality that no one really thought of before. It's just me thinking of it, because a lot of people make stories based off religion that has been explored for thousands of years, and I don't really know any of that. So I just kind of sit down and lay down at night and think of weird stuff, what if there's an island you can go to better yourself? It just makes no sense, but I just kind of explore it because I think it's fun, Yeah. It's kind of I say this probably every time on this podcast, but you listen to albums and they have just nonsense stories, concept albums, make no sense, but it just kind of explore it.
It feels like Cope Island Adrift and Three Ghostly Roses, and all your games have this sort of mythical quality to them. It's you could find them in Greek mythology or something like that, where they don't always there's a certain sense of mythical logic to them that kind of has this deep, mysterious quality to them, and that's what I appreciate about your games.
Well, I'm glad it comes across that way, because that is my intention.
Yeah, thanks for that. Well, that was a pretty deep dive. I'm sorry I didn't get to dive deeper into each of your games individually, and the day only has so many hours in it, and I'm sorry. I promised that it wouldn't be longer than 4 hours. It's been 3 hours, which is not 4 hours. So there we go. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm still sorry about that. But I thank you for thanks to our guests. Thanks to all four of you for being so open and being available. Make yourself available to talk about game development and design and just connect with our listeners.
Yeah. I had fun. I had fun last time. It was awesome. I love hearing from you guys. You got some different perspectives than me.
Yeah, there was less talking over each other than there was last time from memory too, which was just good.
I apologize.
Improvement. I think it was mostly me last time because I talk a lot.
Yeah. I think there was a lot more shut up and kind of be quiet kind of remarks.
Shut up and let me talk.
I don't know what was happening that day, but it was something chaotic. Some stars.
It was fun.
Everyone had at least 2 cents.
I think this time, honestly, was better.
Right.
Not dissing the last time, but I think it came across better this time.
Yeah. Actually, I got a quick question for zDS too. While he's here,
sure.
For a while, you mentioned you're thinking of remaking Three Ghostly Roses.
No comment.
Oh.
What is no comment but a comment? And on that note, I think thanks to all our guests for being here, and I will leave this space at the end of this podcast for all four of you to plug or promote anything you'd like. Where can we follow you? What are your socials? Where can we buy all your games? Because we want to buy all your games. We're holding out our money to you. We just want you to receive it. So, how can we follow you?
Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass, you can buy it on Steam. You can follow me on Twitter at Kasey Ozymy. That's about it. The game I'm working on now is, I guess, 2 years in development, but it's a big one, and so it's not going to be out for a while. And I'm not going to, be able to really make any announcements on it for a while. Hopefully this year I'll be able to, but even then I'm not 100%. So, but just keep your ear to the ground. It's going to be cool. It's going to be really cool, and I'm putting everything into this. So it's a dream game.
It's amazing. Yeah. You got me hyped, ready to go. I'm a bit too hyped. You hyped me too early. I know.
You can't possibly live up to expectations now. It's going to be like Cyberpunk all over again.
Oh, no.
But I think, and I've been mispronouncing your name this whole time. It's Kasey Ozymy, but
I'm sorry. I probably should have corrected you, but also don't. It doesn't bother me. So I guess people have mispronounced my name my entire life, so I just kind of expect it. So don't feel foolish or anything. I should have.
I'm a fool. Sergeant, how can we follow you and support you?
Well, before that, I would like to promote everyone who's in this call. So everything you hear in this segment, please follow them and please check out their projects.
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
But you can follow me on Twitter. My dev account is Torch60, so at Torch and then the number 60. You can buy Soma Spirits Rebalance and Brave Hero Yusha EX, which is the remake of Brave Hero Yusha on Steam and itch.io. And I'd also like to give a quick shout out to Special Agent Ape, who has been a wonderful friend and composer for all of the projects that we've worked on, who is also working on a Brave Hero Yusha semi-sequel called Epilogue Adventures, which we post occasionally on the Torch60 account. You can also see some of the stuff on his personal account, which I believe is Special Agent Ape on Twitter.
I need to get to work on that too.
So we've got a lot going on, and I hope everybody looks forward to what we've got.
I am following them now.
All right.
Yeah.
How about yourself, visitors?
Oh boy. Well, my old Twitter, the old twit. My Twitter account is at visitors dreams, because there was no room for 4.
Oh.
I post on there occasionally about game development stuff. Once I'm actually having time to develop again, I'll be posting more about that. But at the moment, I've set up a master thread for every album I listened to this year, as well as a master thread for every game that I beat this year. So if you're into that sort of stuff and recommendations, that's probably a good place to check out. I'd also recommend my Instagram, which is at Gherkinman. If you want to see some of Australia, because I post all my crazy Australian adventures there. And lastly, I have 2 YouTube channels. I've got Visitors from Dreams. You can check out the development of Shooty and the Catfish over on there, as well as some other stuff. And obviously, my games are also on itch under Visitors from Dreams. You can get Flatwoods, Hazmat, and Shooty and the Catfish episodes 1 and 2, as well as Fully Reloaded. All there, absolutely free.
Give them another $400. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll also plug my main channel, which I guess it's my main job now. I work in hi-fi. I'm an audio guy. I work with speakers and amplifiers, and I do talk a little bit about game development and game sound on there as well. So if you check out Living Entertainment North Coast on YouTube, we should come up. And yeah, you can find out about all kinds of speakers and my thoughts on them and stuff like that there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's a fun job. I will say, a lot of RPG Maker games running through high-end audio don't sound good. But I wouldn't, considering the budget that most of us are working on, that shouldn't be surprising, and you shouldn't feel bad about it. But that's something that I want to dive into a little bit more down the road, is helping educate people on how they can tone down their sound, so people who do have good systems don't have their ears bleeding.
Yes,
So watch out for that on one of those platforms.
They're opening music to every RPG Maker VX Ace.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, it hurts my.
The MIDI files.
The first thing you do is turn down volume right away before you do anything.
Turn down the volume. Another tip: if you got an audio program, all your audio files, dump them in there and run a de-esser over them. It'll take out the sibilance, the sounds.
Yeah.
Tone those down, and that'll make a night and day difference too. As the little tidbit.
Mm-hmm. I'm learning that too. Yeah, zDS. How can we give you money?
Well, first things first, I do want to give a shout out as well to all these guys in this podcast.
Oh,
thank you.
Nice.
Good gentlemen.
Housekeeping is kind of the RPG Maker movie star at this point.
I don't think that's true.
RPG Maker's Brad
Thank
Pitt.
you.
Sergeant has been a great help for me personally, and of course his games are awesome. And Visitor,
oh, thank you. It's good working with you.
Oh yeah, and Visitor is way too talented to be working with us, I think.
Thank you.
No, you are. We can't make cartoons like you. Come on. I can make cartoons, my god, but I can't.
That's all right. We'll work on something one day.
Sounds good. Well, you can follow me on Twitter on, I think, zDS66.
What about me? What about me?
And
What about
let's
you?
ignore Cash forever. As you know, me and Cash have been friends for a long time. I'll give him a shout out. He was probably my first RPG Maker friend, and we still friends. This is my third time on this podcast.
I think so, yeah.
Even though I can't talk, I'm still here, facing my social anxiety one step at a time. Me and Cash have planned many games that were awesome, that we never made, or never will probably.
None of them came to fruition, no. Yeah.
Especially that Slime Village game, my god, that could have been awesome.
Was that? I remember that. That was on the website, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was that?
Yeah, but we kind of released not even demo, it's more like a proof of concept doodle.
I just failed at programming the thing properly. Yeah.
Well, you say fail, I say we just scoped it wrong, you know.
Yeah.
It was a real game rather than, you know, a 30-day small game. We had like 6 worlds planned of complex puzzle mechanics. Come on now.
I know. I'm the world's best developer. But yeah,
you just gotta keep going, you know. That's all.
I'll let you
don't
finish.
keep going.
I'll let you finish. How can we give you money? Let's give you money for the game.
Well, clearly, I should make my game free and let you donate because Visitor is doing better than I am. So
I worked it out.
That's clearly the way.
I actually really considered doing that. I'm still am. I'm not sure if commercial is the future, honestly.
One person donated $100
Yeah, that's the
for my 3-hour game.
Well, that is awesome. But either way, you can follow me at, I think, zDS66. I have no clue what my Twitter account is, but I think it's that.
My Twitter?
And despite this awkward goodbye, I hope you follow me and play my games.
His games are great. Play his games.
We'll all follow zDS, not out of pity, but out of pure joy. Because
look, if you pity follow me, I appreciate it.
Yeah, any pity. Yeah, I mean that's the same for me. Give me all your pity, and I'll store it in my bank account.
Please play my games. I'm so sorry.
Would you call it a pity bank?
Yeah.
I did. They're wonderful.
Yeah, I had 3 Ghostly Roses was my game of 2015.
Yeah.
That is another shout out to Visitor. He is sometimes a bit harsh on games, but he likes my games. So there we go.
That's true, I am harsh.
And on that note of pity, we will end the podcast. Thank you for listening to RPG Maker Cola with 4 wacky guests. Whoa, we're wacky. And I hope you enjoyed this experience. It has been an experience. And until next time, stay cool and cola, I guess. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good night, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, have a good stay inside.
So long. Have a great 2021.
Mm-hmm.